How do you then get a happy patient to leave you a review like you just mentioned? How do you get them to refer you to others? And then there's the kind of the last stage of the journey, if you will, of how do you get them back in every 6 months?
Do those things and just wish the customers would show up at your door and hope that you can give them good service and they'll come back to see you. Chances are you're going to fail.
I challenge everybody that's watching this or listening to this.
Welcome to the Dental Marketing Podcast, a podcast that helps dentists win in the online world of modern day marketing. Each week, we cover the most cutting-edge marketing tactics and strategies that are working right now across our client base to drive leads, phone calls, and more new patients for dentists. Now, here's your host and founder of Kickstart Dental Marketing, Chris Pistorious.
Hey everyone, welcome to the No BS Dental Marketing Podcast. I am your host, Chris Pistorious, and on this show, we talk about straight to the point, no BS, tactics, tricks, and strategies to help you grow your dental practice. Now, there's no fluff here, as you know. It's just great information that you can start using immediately to help increase your bottom line. So if you're a dental practice owner, a manager, or whatever, really, be sure to click subscribe button on this page so that you can be updated when we do release a new episode. Now, today we have a special guest. His name is David, and don't kill me with the last name. Is it Fradin? Is that right, David?
Nailed it. You nailed it.
I tell you, I could have went 50-50 there, but all right, at least we got it right. So now David was really classically trained as an HP product manager, and then he was recruited by Apple. I think a lot of people have heard of Apple probably, to help bring the first hard disk drive to a PC to market. So that's a pretty big deal there. And then he later became the Apple business unit manager on the same level as Steve Jobs. So that's pretty cool right there. I think probably somebody we should listen to. You wrote a book too, right? Called Building Insanely Great Products. Is that right?
Correct. And several others.
Yeah. And it looks like you've got a list here. I'm just kind of going down it. And you do a lot of training, or you have done a lot of training, like Cisco, a big telecom type router stuff company.
Product management and product marketing worldwide. And my number one client is Cisco.
Awesome. Well, very good resume here. So David, thanks so much for being on. I appreciate the time. We were talking kind of in the warm up that, we were talking about, what do you want to talk about to my audience basically? And you had spoken about the 5 keys to product success. So let's get into that. We go right to the point here. Why don't you tell us a little bit more what you mean about that?
Well, it's a mnemonic in my company's name, Spice Catalyst, for the word spice. And the S stands for strategy or product market strategy. And I should say right up that a service is treated the same way as a product. So the services that a dentist performs and delivers is treated the same way as a product. It's just not generally something you can touch as opposed to a physical thing that you can touch, like a computer or a hard disk drive. So the S stands for product market strategy. That is a strategy in the case of dentists for their service in the marketplace. The P is a repeatable process. In that case, it would be the dentist will be able to repeat the same procedures and improve on those procedures so they get better and better and better than the competition and keeps the customer happy and wants to return. The I is having the information that they need in order to make decisions, like the latest things in terms of dental health. The C is understanding your customers, that is, understanding your patients intimately. And E is making sure that your employees have the skill sets necessary to deliver an outstanding service.
It's great to hear that. And I agree with every step of that, by the way, without even knowing the details of each. But if I'm a dental practice owner, or I'm looking to get into dentistry, perhaps I'm reading that. I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But, how do you actually incorporate those things into a dental practice?
Well, I suspect most dentists get their customers by word of mouth and recommendations.
Yeah.
But
But wait a minute, unless they hire us as a dental marketing agency, then no,
yeah,
just kidding.
yeah. But then how do they go beyond that? And that's marketing. But the fundamentals of marketing is understanding your practice. And I recommend, in terms of your practice's market strategy, is to clearly understand what it is that your customers want to do. And if you just trace through what they go through, for example, they want to make an appointment. So they have to make a phone call and they have to hang out on the phone and listen to voicemail. And finally, they get through to someone and they get an appointment scheduled. And then if they want to change that appointment, they got to make another phone call. And if they want to cancel it, they got to make another phone call. And then they're called or texted, like my dentist sends texts to me to confirm that
Yeah.
I'm actually show up. Why couldn't they operate their reservation system just like Open Table when you reserve a table for lunch or dinner or something? Or you can do it online and have to get somebody on the phone.
Yeah.
That would reduce the practice's amount of labor and time on the phone and free those people up for other things. Just follow it all the way through, doing the x-rays, diagnosing the x-rays. Maybe there's some level of artificial intelligence in reading dental x-rays to identify stuff that the dentist may or may not see. Maybe there's alternative cleaning methods. Maybe there's alternative drilling methods and so forth in terms of understanding what it is that the customer wants to do. Why do they want to do it? When do they want to do it? How do they want to do it? Where do they want to do it? And how satisfied they are with their current services. When I moved to California, when I was about 30 some years old, I didn't bother to see a dentist for, I don't know, 10 or 20 years. Because when I was a child in the 50s, I had lots of cavities, and my dentist drilled my teeth without Novocaine.
Oh,
So I was a little bit afraid of going to see the dentist, or as I call him, Dr. Pain.
yeah.
And then, of course, I started contracting gum disease, and I went to see a dentist who was a Russian, and she was brutal. So I never went back to her. Then I went to a cosmetic dentist, and they wanted to plane my teeth, whatever that is, and they did half my teeth, I think on one side, and they became so loose I thought they were all going to fall out. So I didn't go
Uh,
back the other half planed. And finally, a friend of mine recommended Dr. Klinger in Sunnyvale, and I've been seeing him for about 20 years now. And I go in and say, "Hey, I'd like to have my teeth whitened," and he says, "Why?" So he's not pushing these things that
right. You got to
really
talk him into it, right?
exactly. Uh, Now I have an area of slightly receding gums, and he wants me to go see another specialist. And I'm afraid to do that because then they want to take a graft off the top of my mouth. I can't have my gin and tonics for 4 days.
Well, then that's out. You can't do that.
It's very painful. So in this particular case, I would like to have an easier way of getting a diagnosis and a list of alternative ways of dealing with it. So clearly understanding what it is that your customer wants to do is the number one thing they should start with. And then survey people, interview people, observe other dentists and what they're doing, then I suspect you'll begin to classify yourself into different portions of the market or target markets, like child dentistry, like orthodontics, like root
Mhm.
canal, that kind of thing, if you choose to specialize. That's the key part of the product market strategy, and also identifying the personas of your customers or your markets right down to the individual, that information can be given to a person like yourself, that you can figure out from that where those people get their information from. And you can then deliver the key selling points for that service, that these guys specialize in no pay, no hassle dentistry, easy to make an appointment. You're able to pay your bills maybe over time at a low interest rate, which will keep people coming back. Part of your business is you want repeat customers, and you want enough new customers added at the same rate as you're losing customers, maybe because they move away or because they pass away, and so forth. So that would then comprise the product market strategy. Included in that is some competitive research. What dentists are there around you? And how are they marketing themselves? And you would go out and look at their websites and see how they're marketing. And then dealing with the conundrums of insurance. I'm here in Northern California, been going to Dr. Klinger for 20 some years, but I'm also with Kaiser, and with the Kaiser Social Security or Medicare Advantage plan, I get the lower cost dentistry. Well, it's almost impossible to figure out if Dr. Klinger will accept the Kaiser Delta Dental insurance. And there's all sorts of Delta Dental plans, and trying to figure them out is very difficult.
It's a nightmare.
It's a nightmare. And
Yeah.
then okay, I'm paying like $180 every 6 months to have my teeth cleaned. If I was on the Kaiser Delta Dental insurance, I think it's like $50, or maybe it's free. I don't remember. So I contacted through online appointment forms 3 dentists that live near me to see if I could make an appointment, and not a single one of them bothered to respond. So these are the kinds of problems the head of a dental service should be aware of and make it easy for them to get new clients. And then there's the whole back office and handling the patient's charts, medical information, recommendations, and so forth. And I think as AI continues to grow, imagine if all of the medical information that Kaiser or of a dentist has is in generative AI program, then one would be able to more easily predict diseases and problems. And a dentist could include as part of their product market strategy that kind of new technology.
Yeah, without question. It's exciting. The future is scary and exciting, I think, at the same time. But you mentioned that sometimes they don't even get back to you. And we used to, when we would take on a new client, we would do some market research, of course, and we would test them. So, like, we would fill out the form on their website, for instance, just to see how long it took for them to get back to us. And I got to tell you, about half of them never got back to us. We didn't get anything back. And if we did, it was always like the next day or even a week later. And so it really highlighted on our proposal, like, look, if you're going to spend this money in marketing, you got to figure a system out to be able to get back to people quicker. Because, I mean, there's tons of studies out there that show the sooner you can get back to a lead, the better chance you have of getting them into the chair. So you're absolutely right. It's just crazy that, some people get these leads and then just don't do anything with them.
I suspect, the office manager is all their time is consumed.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if
It's
you
not that they don't want to, it's just that they don't have the time to do it.
Exactly. So that's when they should perhaps hire a virtual assistant
Yes.
that is responsible for calling them back or actually confirming an appointment with them on an online scheduling form. And if there's
Yes.
an issue of people signing up and not showing up because a dentist's time is very valuable. If it's
Hmm.
gone, it's gone. You don't get a chance to make more time. So
Right.
then you ask people to do like at the higher end restaurants for a deposit
Yeah.
that you don't cancel 24 hours in advance, they lose that deposit, that type
Yep.
of thing. Yeah.
Yep. I got to tell you, man, that scares the hell out of a lot of dentists to do that because they're afraid that people won't take that extra step. But, I agree with you. I think it works in certain situations. And, it's a lack of confidence, I think, for some of these dental practices to do that. They just feel as though if they do that, they'll drop off the edge of the earth. And I've seen dentists do that and have been just fine with it. And quite frankly, it brings in a patient that's a little bit more in line with what they're looking for in terms of their most valuable prospect.
Less flaky and a
Yeah.
patient that has some respect for the service, the professional services that the dentist is delivering.
Yeah, without question. You've written these books. You've got a rich history of working with some really big organizations with product management. And, when somebody thinks of a dentist, they don't think of products. Like you said, it's more of a service. But even that way, I mean, it seems like we have to talk dentists out of being a commodity sometimes. So, like, a dentist isn't just a dentist, right? I mean, teeth whitening isn't just teeth whitening. Implants aren't just implants. I think you covered this a little bit, but you've got to find a unique way to talk about your product or service offering, right?
Exactly. And that's the way you position yourself in the marketplace. That's how you differentiate yourself versus the competition. You go look at this list of dentists that the Kaiser list that they claim is part of their plan. And there's the only difference between all of them and all of these listings is how far they are from my house.
Yep.
Getting ratings, for example, on Yelp or something like that would be helpful. Posting ratings on their website. The number one dentist in Los Gatos, California, based upon reader surveys or whatever it may be. You have to find something that distinguishes you as being different and establish a position in the prospective customer's mind, which you marketing people will call branding.
Right.
The promise of the service.
Right. Yeah. Without question. And I know that you do some work with like customer journey stuff too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we talk a lot about with our clients. All right, let's look at the journey and potential new patient goes through, right? Yeah, they look for a dentist, but then and a lot of dentists say, all right, well, it's good. That's good. I just want the new leads. I want the new leads. And that's great. But there's other phases in that journey that you have to be good at as well. Like when they hit the front desk, right? If that front desk person isn't excellent at his or her job, you're going to lose that because that's your first line of communication. It's the first impression of your practice. It's a vital part of the patient journey. And then it goes all the way to, how do you then get a happy patient to leave you a review like you just mentioned? How do you get them to refer you to others? And then there's the kind of the last stage of the journey, if you will, of how do you get them back in every 6 months, right? If they haven't moved or died. How do you make sure that they're coming back in? So it's to me, it's not just about, getting him in the front door. It's also taking care of them during the journey and then locking the back door so that they stay with your practice and don't go somewhere else. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the front desk has to provide 100% customer satisfaction when they walk in the door until getting them in the chair. They can't be kept waiting for inordinate periods of time. And then when they leave, it's easy to pay
Right.
and so forth.
So, we're going to wrap up here in a little bit, but I want to give people the opportunity of, I know that you offer a lot of services in your coaching, consulting business. What are some of the things you think you could help out with in terms of a dental practice if somebody wanted to reach out to you?
We could do interviews of prospective target
Mm,
clients or existing clients. And from that, develop a questionnaire that could be sent out to all of their customers, asking such things as how did you find us? Why do you come to us? What do you like about our service? What don't you like about our service? What additional services would you like us to add, and so forth? And then that could be rolled up into a report that will help give guidance to the owner of the practice as to what direction they should go in the future and help them nail down their messaging. You'd also ask questions in that survey about where do they get their information about dentistry from?
hmm
Uh, are they reading Good Housekeeping, or are they talking to their friends, or are they look for signs for dentists at the candy counter, or whatever it may be?
Right. Right. Yeah, and all that's really powerful. And I know there's going to be some that are thinking, I just want patients to show up. But, you have to understand that, there's more to it than just, it's not a, if you build it, they will come scenario anymore with dental practices. It used to be that way 50 years ago. If you built a dental practice, people would just show up. But that's not the case anymore. There's more competition now than there ever has been in dentistry. There's pressure from corporate dentistry. There's just a lot of stuff going on. And if you're not marketing and even better, doing research on what products and services to offer, who your ideal patient should be, and things like that, you're just going to wind up throwing a lot of money against the wall and hopefully, hoping something sticks. So those are all incredibly good points. David, what's the best way for somebody to reach out to you?
They can connect with me on LinkedIn. It's LinkedIn, search for David Fradin.
Okay.
Alternatively, they could go to my website, spicecatalyst.com, and my contact information on that is on that website.
Okay, I'll make sure that I put all the links in that as well. And when somebody reaches out to you, how does that work? Do you do like an initial consultation, or what does that process look like?
Chat with them as to what is the problem that they're trying to, and or problems they're trying to solve. Then I'll put together a proposal with a price quote. And typically, it's in one of two ways. It's either an hourly rate or a package of X number of hours per month or for the project, and a package deal which gives a discount on the hourly rate.
Awesome. Okay. Well, look, this is stuff that Dennis, you should not overlook. These are things that you need in place if you're going to be serious about marketing, and really if you're going to be serious about increasing your bottom line and growing your practice responsibly. So everybody should at least take a look at this. David, any closing words, any closing tips or advice that you'd like to give our audience?
If you got to do the kinds of things that we've been talking about here, and you need to repeat it on a periodic
Mm,
basis, like every 6 months or a year, because the market is changing as people move around the country and around the world. If you do that, then you'll have a pipeline of people going through that customer journey, and you can maintain and or build your business with ease. If you don't do those things and just wish the customers show up at your door and hope that you can give them good service and they'll come back to see you, chances are you're going to fail.
Yeah, without question. And I talk about this a lot on my podcast of the fact that when we have guests on or we're just talking about a specific topic, usually only about 3% of our audience actually ever does any action with it. They think, oh, you know what? That's a good idea. I should do that. And they might write it down and then they kind of lose track of it. And over time, you just forget completely about it. So I challenge everybody that's watching this or listening to this, be the 3% that take action on this, because it will make a big difference in your practice. So, David, I want to thank you for being a part of the show today. I hopefully a lot of people will reach out to you and want some more information. And I want to thank everyone who's watching and listening today. If you do like our podcast, please do hit that subscribe button so that you're notified when we do drop a new episode. We look forward to see everyone on the next episode. Thanks again, David.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Dental Marketing Podcast. Make sure to visit our website, www.kickstartdental.com/podcast, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Spotify, or via RSS, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. If you are ready to grow your practice, then you might want to schedule a free strategy session with us. Just go to kickstartdental.com and click the free strategy session button and give us 15 minutes of your time to change your practice forever. Be sure to tune in next week for our next episode. And thanks for listening to the Dental Marketing Podcast by Kickstart Dental Marketing, where dentists go to win online.